Today on Time About the Movies, we are finally at the point where we are past the dumping weeks and we're getting to the movies that the studios are proud of. Once again, whether they're the good movies or not, to be determined. But I know this first movie's a really good one. Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena starring in David Ayer's End of Watch. We have Jennifer Lawrence in her first big movie after The Hunger Games, The House at the End of the Street. Clint Eastwood's latest film, Trouble with the Curve. Carl Urban stepping into the role of Judge Dredd in Dredd. And Emma Watson, Logan Lerman, and Ezra Miller starring in the indie romantic comedy The Perks of Being a Wallflower. 5 films to take a look at, September 21st, 2012. This is, of course, Time About the Movies.
Watch, rated R, starts September 21st.
And welcome back to Time About the Movies. On this episode today, we're taking a look at the 5 films that make up September 21st, 2012. And we're beginning, of course, with the first movie that we have here, easily one of the year's best movies, End of Watch. In this film, you have 2 police officers from the LAPD, played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena, who uncover evidence of a Mexican drug cartel's human and drug trafficking. As the 2 officers continue investigating further, the cartel places bounties on them. And honestly, I felt like David Ayer kind of peaked too early, because he wrote Training Day, and then a lot of the stuff he did were just kind of, nothing that spectacular, nothing that amazing. You know, Dark Blue, SWAT, Harsh Times, Street Kings. I mean, it felt like he was repeating the same elements he was bringing into Training Day in those films. And in this one definitely feels like a return to form for him. This is probably his best overall movie as a director. I mean, he hardly does any of those tropes that he does in the other movies, and it works because of it. You get a little bit of Training Day here and there, but it's not as noticeable as his other movies, and I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This was one of the big surprises that I saw coming nowhere. I mean, this movie, there's just so much about this film that works so well. I love the chemistry between Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena as these 2 cops. I like the fact that they work well off each other. You can definitely tell that these 2 are best friends, and they've known each other for a long time, and they do really care about each other. I love the drug lord in this movie, who's a woman in this. Like, she's actually harsh, she's actually scary, she does not give a fuck at all, and she has no remorse whatsoever. Like, let me put it this way. I got more fear from her. You have the thunder out there, there's a storm right now. But I got more fear from watching her in this movie than I ever got with Salma Hayek and Savages. That's how good this is. I mean, credit to that actress. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now, but the movie does have a lot of good tension. No scenes in this feel predictable. It really did feel like something bad could happen to these 2 cops. And at some point towards the end of the movie, it certainly does that. Like, I'm glad that they don't literally cop out of this and give the film an overall happy ending and everyone's singing Kumbaya and, you know, saying, come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. No, that does not happen in this movie. No, it ends on somewhat of a sour note. And yeah, it's pretty intense what they do here. And if there's any flawed elements to the film, I will say the found footage element in here isn't that strong. I mean, yeah, they have body cams on them. Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena do. That's fine. But when you have a majority of people in town having cameras recording footage for no reason, like, that seemed to be too much for me. Like, I get it. You did it in Chronicle. You did it in Project X. But there's an excuse in those movies. Here, there's literally no reason to be doing this type of stuff here. I also thought the tacked-on scene at the end, while it was funny, really did kind of seem unnecessary. The movie ends on this dark note, and then they decide, okay, let's just go ahead and just do this funny little gag here at the end of the movie here. I mean, we don't have a reason why we're going to do it, but it's supposed to take place the day of the shooting of the film, and it's the shooting of what happens in the film, and it's just like, this thing probably could have been shown earlier in the movie, because it takes a scene that it takes a movie that ends on the sourest note possible, and then adds this extra scene as like a way to be like, okay, everybody, here, I know things are rough right now, but look at this funny scene with these 2 cops. It's just like, I don't know. To me, I thought that was doing it a bit too much. But despite all of that, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This is a movie that really was one of the big surprises for me. I was impressed by what I saw from it. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. Easily the best thing David Ayer has ever worked on since Training Day. It's a masterpiece, man. It's a great, great film. I can't recommend this one enough. End of Watch. Seek this movie out if you haven't seen it. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Jennifer Lawrence starring in House at the End of the Street.
House at the End of the Street, rated PG-13.
First things first. Can we do something about the hashtag, man? Like, you couldn't think of a better hashtag besides hates? Because you know you're setting yourself up for when people go to see this movie and they're incredibly disappointed. and they'll be just like, I hashtag hates the house at the end of the street. But I'm telling you, that's what most people are going to feel like when they see this film. So you have the story revolving around a teenage girl named Elisa, played by Jennifer Lawrence, along with her newly divorced mother, played by Elizabeth Shue, who move into a new neighborhood only to discover that the house at the end of the street was the site of a gruesome double homicide committed by a 13-year-old girl named Carrie Ann, who had disappeared without a trace 4 years prior. Elisa then starts a relationship with Carrie Ann's older brother, played by Max Thoreau, who lives in the same house, but nothing is as it appears to be. So I guess the question we should be asking Carrie Ann is, what's your game, and can anybody play? I think if you don't know what that is, like, look up the song Carrie Ann. But, I mean, really, what more can I add to this movie that hasn't already been said already? It's a lazy film. And you know it's lazy when it's literally being shot 2 years before it comes out. And the only reason it's getting a release is because Jennifer Lawrence is the hot young actress coming off of the Hunger Games. And they're just like, ooh, we have a chance to put this movie out that we know is terrible. But we'll just pretend like it's a movie that we had in our banks the whole time. We didn't leave this on the shelf for 2 years. What crazy person is telling you that? But yeah, it's a movie that's been sitting on a shelf for 2 years. They knew it was bad. They knew it was a horrible film. What more can I have to say about this, man? This is a terrible film. The twist is not that great. The talent here is being extremely wasted on here, especially Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, she deserves better than this. And luckily, she'll have a better movie coming out at the end of the year, which will get her an Academy Award. But this, yeah, this is garbage here. So let's go ahead and get back to, well, maybe not some good movies, but better than The House at the End of the Street. Clint Eastwood in Trouble with the Curve.
I'm not a pole dancer. Trouble with the Curve. Rated PG-13. Starts September 21st.
So I did not realize this until I looked this up. This was not a Clint Eastwood directed movie, and that's probably why the movie isn't that good. But yeah, it's a movie that isn't really a movie per se. It's literally a film that feels like a pilot for a TV show you would see on CBS. I mean, quite literally, it feels like a CBS pilot. And this is not a CBS film. This is a Warner Brothers movie. It's revolving around Eastwood as an aging baseball scout whose daughter joins him on a scouting trip. The daughter played by Amy Adams. You see John Goodman in the trailer there. Matthew Lillard's also in here, and Justin Timberlake is also in here as well. And really, the biggest problem with the movie comes from the fact that it's not a Clint Eastwood directed or written film. This is a movie that he didn't write or direct. It's actually the first movie he's ever starred in that he was not involved in the writing or directing of since his cameo in Casper almost 20 years ago in 1995. And this is his first acting project he's done since Gran Torino, which is a far superior movie because it's him directing it and he knows what he's doing. This one really does feel like a pilot, quite literally for CBS, because there's nothing about this movie that really is that engaging or says this needs to be big screen worthy, except for the fact that, oh, we got all these big seasoned actors in here: Clint Eastwood, Amy Adams, Justin Timberlake. It's just like, okay, give them something to do. Like, give me a reason to see this film on a big screen instead of waiting for it to come out on DVD only to be disappointed by it. Because that's how I felt about it. I avoided it in theaters because I knew that I didn't really have the urge to go and see it. And then when I finally get to see it, it's a movie that really does feel like a lackluster film, and a film that Eastwood pretty much made just because. I mean, there's nothing about this that makes me think that this movie has any real purpose of existing, except the fact that Clint Eastwood didn't want to make a movie, so he said, "Hey, Robert Lorenz, can you go ahead and come out and do this movie for me?" And yeah, that's all I really got to say about this one here. Except the fact, I'll also say this though. There was also supposedly a plagiarism lawsuit that came out a year after this movie came out, where the producer alleged that the former partner had taken an unfinished script after a dispute and conspired with his agents at Warner Brothers to present it as the work of a relative unknown. So they went into this plagiarism lawsuit here, and so they eventually dismissed the claims, and then the writer, the person who was responsible for this, what was his name? Brooks? Who's Brooks? I'm trying to read the thing here. Ryan Brooks is one of the producers on here. He filed a lawsuit after the film's release, and then the case was dismissed in August of 2016. So, I mean, was this really worth getting into a lawsuit with? I mean, really, was this really worth it? I mean, what did you really expect with this film? Like, honestly, but bottom line, the movie isn't that great. It's a lackluster film. It's not engaging whatsoever. It's a lousy, lousy film. So that's Trouble with the Curve, as you're hearing the continuous thunder in the background here. Let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Carl Urban starring as Judge Dredd in Dredd.
cops were uncooperative. Dread 3D, rated R, starts September 21st.
Now, this is the Judge Dredd movie that we've been waiting for. You know, almost 20 years after the original Sylvester Stallone movie really dismantled any hope of giving this character any cool relevancy. Here we finally have a movie version of this character that fits the comics, is right where it should be with this character. He doesn't take his helmet off. He actually is a badass in this movie, and nobody went to go see it because they were idiots. I'm not saying you're idiots, but you people out there should have made this a bigger hit, honestly. Of course, this is based off the comic strip Judge Dredd, and its characters created by John Wagner and Carlos Esquerra, and it stars Carl Urban as Judge Dredd, a law enforcer giving the power of judge, jury, and executioner in a vast dystopic metropolis called Mega City 1 that lies in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Dredd and his rookie partner, played by Olivia Thirlby, are forced to bring order to a 200-story high-rise block of apartments and deal with its resident drug lord, played by Lena Headey. Another good weekend where you have a woman playing a drug lord and actually starring in a really good film. And this really is a really good film. This is directed by the same guy that did Vantage Point, and it's written by Alex Garland, who also would later give us Ex Machina and also Civil War. And he did what was the movie he did recently? He did Warfare 28 Years Later, which 28 Years Later wasn't that great, but Ex Machina, Annihilation, Civil War. All really good movies, so you've got a lot of really good talent on here, and you have people who are committed to the story of Judge Dredd. He doesn't take his helmet off. It's just Carl Urban with that 5 o'clock shadow of his. And you can tell it's him. Like, you don't have to take the helmet off to reveal Sylvester Stallone like you did in the original movie. Like, that was your first mistake right there. And yeah, that movie is fun on a so bad it's good level, but this one is a film that feels legitimate. It feels real and authentic. This is basically the equivalent to the Dredd equivalent to the Raid, pretty much, because it's pretty much the same concept. It's taking place in this one building, and you see, Judge Dredd kicking a whole bunch of ass in this movie. It works really well. I would have loved to see what another film would have done to this, but sadly the film didn't make the money it needed to, and it's gone on to have this cult following over the years. So the hope is still there that maybe one day we'll get that Judge Dredd sequel. I mean, we are already 13 years since this movie came out, so it's not out of the realm of possibility someone would want to do another one of these. And I talk about how sequels probably should not be coming out way too long after their predecessors are, but this is one of those ones I would say, yeah, definitely do it, because Carl Urban has only gotten much more badass thanks to The Boys on Amazon. So yeah, there's still a demand here for a film like this in general. So come on, studios, get out there and do it. I mean, there's a lot of studios out there but would probably love to do something like this again, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But in the meantime, we do get a really great film out of Dredd. Can't recommend this one enough. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is the indie film, The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Producers of Juno, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, rated PG-13, now playing in select cities.
The days when we actually liked Ezra Miller and we took him seriously as an actor before he went fucking nuts. You have the story based off of a book of the same name by the director of this. Logan Lerman stars as a teenager named Charlie who writes to an unnamed friend, and these epistles chronicle his trials, tribulations, and triumphs as he goes through the freshman year of high school. The film depicts his struggles with him, unbeknownst to him, post-traumatic stress disorder, as he goes through his journey in high school, making new friends, portrayed by Emma Watson and Ezra Miller. You also have a cast that includes Nye Whitman, Kate Walsh, Dylan McDermott, Joan Cusack, Nina Dobrev, and Paul Rudd in supporting roles. And this is a really, really good film. The Breakfast Club for the New Millennium, that might be stretching a little bit here. I love The Breakfast Club, but this ain't The Breakfast Club. I mean, it's a good movie, but it's no Breakfast Club. This one works for the generation that we essentially have right now. And, you really get attached to these characters. And it's cool to see Emma Watson branch out into a role that's outside of her norm with, she's not Hermione Granger in this movie. She actually is a legitimate character in here, and she works very well to the performance given to her. All the characters are very good, are very well acted. It's a film that works, and hey, it's a movie that's taking place in Pittsburgh. You see the city, like you see the sights and all that. It's great to see on the big screen. I mean, yeah, it's a really good film overall. It's a movie that really does keep you invested. It helps that you have the writer of the book to make this movie, so he knows exactly what he's doing. It's a terrific film. It's a really terrific film. I can't recommend this one enough. Definitely seek it out if you haven't seen it. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, a great, great film. Certainly not The Breakfast Club for the New Millennium, but hey, it's a good film regardless. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we end September on a high note with some really good films. We have the surprisingly really good Hotel Transylvania from director Genndy Tartakovsky. Surprisingly good because it stars Adam Sandler in probably one of his best overall films. Ryan Johnson follows the success with The Brothers Bloom and Brick, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis in the sci-fi thriller Looper. We have Anna Kendrick starring alongside Rebel Wilson and Brittany Snow in Pitch Perfect. And then you have the one bad film, and it's really a bad film, Viola Davis and Maggie Gyllenhaal, starring in Won't Back Down. So we'll at least end September on a more positive note than that last film will be. But hey, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. So we'll take a look at those tomorrow on the show. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.